Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Stacey Spivey with Lauren Coleman, Eric Chilton, and Monique Robinson.
Welcome to the 4 to 5, whether you're watching at home, online, Fire Stick, Roku, WFY News 2 app, and Facebook, because we have a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get with our continuing coverage of the fire burning on Pilot Mountain. Fire crews have been able to contain most of the flames to the lower end of the mountain.
More than 1,000 acres have been burned. WFY News 2's Jenna Kurzina joins us. Jenna, you're in the state park. What's it looking like right now?
Well, Lauren, I actually got to follow behind a park ranger this afternoon as he led me up the mountain. I did have to stay in my car, except when we were close to the visitor center, but I had never seen anything like it. As we were driving up the mountain that so many in this community know and love, you could see the ground. It was burned. There were hot spots all over the place. And right now, though, the firefighters' biggest challenge is those burned trees, just making sure none of those fall. So they're doing their cleanup process right now.
And Jenna, what do we know about the investigation as far as into the cause of this fire? I know a lot of people have been talking about this.
Yeah, Stacey, they addressed that today, and the North Carolina Forest Service Ranger Jimmy Holt that we spoke with says that they know it wasn't lightning. It was a human factor in some sort of capacity. It could have been machine use and unextinguished fire. There's a big window of possibilities there, but the LE officers are working on that investigation now. And as you guys mentioned, there's more than 1,000 acres that have burned. There are about 60 firefighters on the mountain right now. They are working on the mop-up process and just monitoring the situation. Now, some good news, the visitor center was not touched, or any property for that matter, and no injuries have been reported.
We do have a good handle on this at this time. Of course, with the conditions we're facing right now, it's far from over. There's a lot of work that's left to be done, a lot of what we call snagging that needs to be done, which that means the removal of dead and dying and burning trees that are on or near the containment line.
The weather is also a big concern and challenge, but for the most part, and as you can see, the smoke has really calmed down and not as visible as it's been the past couple of days and over the weekend.
Jenna, the park is a community icon. This has only brought the community even closer together. Talk about firefighters and the support they're seeing.
Yeah, Lauren, I was over at the firehouse yesterday, and just the amount of people that came and showed all their love and support for the firefighters and the first responders that are controlling the situation. They brought donations. They've brought so many donations that they are now asking if anybody has any food or water or anything like that to bring it to a local food pantry instead, but the fireman is still taking monetary donations.
So forest officials say they're confident this fire was caused by a person, but weather conditions have not been favorable to help crews defeat the fire. Meteorologist Monique Robinson explains how conditions really helped to fuel that fire.
The perfect recipe for a fire to spread: low humidity, little rain, dry leaves, and fast winds. Unfortunately, we have all those ingredients in Surry County. But how did this all begin? Less than 72 hours ago, the headlines were not Pilot Mountain fire. Well, first things first, we need an ignition source, fuel and oxygen. That ignition source can be anything that starts a spark, and 85% of the time, that's a human. The North Carolina Forest Service says it's confident the Pilot Mountain fire was caused by someone. Fuel is anything flammable: trees, grass, or dead leaves. Good news in the case of Pilot Mountain, fires move slower spreading downhill, which helps crews contain the flames quicker. You don't need to be near the fire to feel its effects. Wildfire smoke can travel miles. Toxic pollutants can blanket nearby skies, like right here in Greensboro.
All right, so think about this. There's something special about a child's thank you. You know, kids don't usually filter very well, and if you get an unsolicited thank you from a kid, it's usually from the heart. That's exactly what happened yesterday in Surry County when a pre-K class at Shoals Elementary decided to make a banner to thank the firefighters. I spoke with their principal, Kelly Waters, about this, and she said they looked at it really as a teaching moment.
This just provided an opportunity for some real world conversations about that. And our little mountaineers were just super curious about the planes, the helicopters that were flying over all day yesterday. And so we just had some conversations with them about what those folks were doing and the folks on the ground, what they were doing. And so they wanted to say thank you in a way that they could. And that was through coloring a cute little banner and posting it on our social media page.
Yeah, Mrs. Waters said that the kids just wanted the firefighters to understand how appreciated they are. And then, of course, they had a few questions.
Lots of curiosity among our 4-year-olds. So what did the firefighters wear? Are they wearing their hats? I think they were thinking more about the little red plastic ones that they had from fire safety, but what are they using to put the fire out? So lots of questions.
Yeah, it's adorable because they're 4, right?
Yeah.
It's a pre-K class, and so they were asking questions like that. But imagine a 4-year-old coming to school, and she said from the school windows they could see all the smoke. So that's got to be, disconcerting for not just them, the adults too, but the kids were asking lots of questions, and she said this was a way for them to kind of settle them a little bit and let them know that the firefighters are out there working, and they wanted to thank them with a banner. I thought it was really cute.
I think this is a great way, as I said, as a learning lesson, because when we were little, firemen, they might come to the school to talk to you, but to have an event actually happening in your area just gives you more of that appreciation and how you can do your part as well to keep your community safe.
Yeah, and I love that even though they're so small, they clearly are going to have a huge impact on those firefighters, because when they come home and they see that those kids made this banner, that's just going to make their day.
And they've been out there 10, 12, 20 hours at a time, so that's a good thing for them to be welcome home to.
Yeah, they've been putting in that work.
That's right. All right, let's see if anything's happening with the forecast. I guess no rain in sight in the short term, Monique.
Yeah, not so much, even though some models are hinting at the potential for some rain, but not looking like significant amounts at all. This is the current state of the weather when we're looking at specifically Greensboro. 57 is the current temperature. That's right around average. The dew points are in the 20s and the humidity is around 30%. Humidity at that level means there's not much moisture in the air. That's why we're describing it as a very dry air mass that we're all feeling. When we have humidity values in the 60% range or the 70% range, that's when you walk outside and it feels like a sauna. This is not the case today. In addition to that, we do have winds coming out of the southwest at 13 miles per hour, so that is fairly breezy. And these dew points at the 20s and even the teens in some spots, that might be a little bit of an error. Dew points across the area in the 20s are describing this very dry air. We can see on this legend at the top of your screen here that the tropical range is well above 70 or just in the 60 range. That's when it feels sticky, and we're well below then. We keep dry at 50, but we're even below that with dew points reading in the 20s. Like I said, it's pretty breezy across the triad, winds coming out of the south and southwest. So in reference to Pilot Mountain, this is helping to send those smoke plumes towards the northern direction. So kind of sending it more north. And however, the fact that we're seeing those smoke plumes in our area, it's increasing the air quality, not making it good for today across the triad. More details on it coming up.
Dr. Mandy Cohen is stepping down from her role as Secretary of the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. Governor Cooper announced her departure today, adding Chief Deputy Secretary for Health Cody Kinsley will take over for Dr. Cohen at the first of the year. Dr. Cohen said it's been an honor to serve the state.
While it's hard to step away, it's the right time for me personally and the right time for our team. The Department of Health and Human Services is in a strong position to continue to carry out its mission, and in choosing Chief Deputy Secretary Cody Kinsley as the department's next secretary, the governor has chosen an incredible leader to take the baton to run the next leg of this race.
Dr. Cohen was appointed to her role in 2017. She has a degree from Cornell University and her medical degree from Yale School of Medicine. She later earned a master's degree in public health from Harvard. She did not say what her next steps would be.
Governor Cooper applauded Dr. Cohen for her work as secretary and her leadership during the pandemic. The governor also applauded our state's progress in the pandemic. Governor Cooper acknowledged the difference between where we are now and where we stood this time last year during lockdowns. The governor said while families were able to gather for Thanksgiving, we still have work to do to come out of this on the other side of the pandemic.
But we're all painfully aware that we haven't fully defeated this pandemic. The Delta variant is still with us, causing sickness and death, mostly among the unvaccinated, while health alerts about the emerging Omicron variant have caused concern and opened a new set of questions. As the scientists and public health experts race to get answers about the new variant, we still know this to be 100% true. Getting more people vaccinated is the way out of this pandemic.
So the news comes as one of our state's coronavirus numbers now showing a spike. Our graph here shows the percentage of tests coming back positive. The latest number is 9.4%. That is the highest number we've seen since late September off the left side of the graph here. It's also the 5th day in a row that number has gone up. Today's number nearly double the state's goal of 5%. It's easy to see that our latest numbers have been over that red line more often than under it over the last 2 weeks. This number has dipped below that line just twice.
We're learning more about the Greensboro-Randolph mega site and the company that could land there. The Randolph County Commission will hold a public hearing next month to discuss incentives. The document shows an unnamed company would bring a $1 billion investment and 1,700 jobs to the area. The company could then expand to a $3 billion investment with another 4,000 jobs. The county would pay 60% of the unnamed company's property taxes and fees and would even hand over ownership of 600-acre plot of land. The company's name will be revealed at the next meeting coming up on December 6th. We'll be right back. Developing right now, investigators say 3 students are dead after a shooting at a Michigan high school. This is video over Oxford High School in Oxford Township, which is about 30 miles north of Detroit. Investigators say a teenager opened fire this afternoon, hitting 6 people, including a teacher. The 15-year-old sophomore is now in custody. Investigators still aren't sure what his motives were. They also recovered a handgun. Deputies did not release the name of the 3 victims or the suspect. Of course, we'll keep you updated on this developing situation on air and online. England is enforcing a mask mandate in shops and on public transportation to keep the Omicron COVID-19 variant from spreading further. The nation has 22 reported cases of the Omicron variant. All travelers returning to the UK have had to take a COVID test and isolate until they get a negative result. The government is offering all adults booster vaccines within 2 months of being fully vaccinated.
Greece is also taking steps to slow the spread of the variant. Residents over 60 now required to get vaccinated or they could be fined monthly starting next year. Greece's COVID death toll reached above 18,000 this week. The nation required healthcare workers and fire service members to get vaccinated over the summer. The policy takes effect January 16th. So this has to be the strictest rule that I've seen so far. I think their numbers will definitely go down, but we certainly wouldn't see this everywhere in other countries.
We talked about this this morning, and I was thinking, like, I mean, obviously that wouldn't fly here.
Yeah.
But I'm also interested in why 60 and older, because I thought, at least statistically, not just in our country, but globally, that's the age group that more of them were getting vaccinated than not.
Yeah, especially here, I know when Dr. Cohen was talking about the numbers, the largest percentage of people that are fully vaccinated were those the older generation, so those older than 60. So it's interesting. Maybe it's different in their country.
Yeah, it might be flipped. I mean, I don't know what the stats are, but I found that to be interesting. If you try that here, it will not be working very well.
Protests, a lot of unhappy people. It'll be interesting to see as we get more of these variants, what other mandates start to roll out.
And I want to see how countries that lock it down.
Yes.
You know, some countries just lock I want to see if that works or not. I think it's interesting to see that.
Yeah, and I mean, I was talking to a student that's studying abroad. You know, Elon University has a really big study abroad program, and she said that pretty much everything's normal. She's in London, but then I was talking to the dean of the study abroad program. He said we can't even get our students into New Zealand.
Yikes.
He said it's still very, very strict. So I can only imagine what's going to happen.
We'll have to wait and see. And
Keep an eye on that one.
Yes, we will be. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.
Volunteers spent this Giving Tuesday donating their time and their money to Backpack Beginnings in Greensboro. The nonprofit helps more than 17,000 children in Guilford County experiencing hunger by providing food, clothing, school supplies, and more. As a part of Giving Tuesday, the organization asked the public to donate to its end-of-year campaign. Its goal of $200,000 will help the group move to a larger warehouse to better support its programs and operations.
So we're going to be starting a family market this spring in our new space, and we want families to be able to come to us and choose the items that they need, so they can come in and pick the clothing items and the food items and all the other things that their family needs. They know what is best for their families, and we want to honor that.
The current facility on Alliance Drive is 9,000 square feet. The new warehouse, just a few doors down, is more than 3 times bigger at 29,000 square feet. All right, so this campaign is going to run through the first week of January. Backpack Beginnings plans to move into the new warehouse at the start of 2022. So as you know, we've done a lot of stories on Backpack Beginnings, but what is so awesome about this is Parker started this organization in her living room or her kitchen area, and now it's grown to this 29,000 square feet facility.
They've done so. I have literally watched this program go from almost inception, because Parker would come on the Good Morning Show back when I hosted that, and she was so excited about her new venture, and you know, it was in the early stages, and now to see her go to that facility, that's a major thing.
Yeah, I mean, and if you haven't given anything for Giving Tuesday, I think this is the perfect opportunity to do something that goes straight back into our local community to help people here.
And right back to the kids too. I mean, it's direct to the kids.
Directly to the kids. So we'll have more details on this on our website if you're interested in donating.
Welcome back. A snowstorm stranded dozens of customers in a Britain pub for 3 days. Okay, take a look at this. 61 people got stuck in a Yorkshire pub after a snowstorm damaged power cables and blocked roads. The manager organized a quiz night and karaoke for stranded guests. Even a cover band was stuck at the pub. I mean, how more perfect can you, I mean, that's just excellent. Everyone there has been hoping to get home as of yesterday. No word on if roads were cleared or not. The pub is used to being cut off by bad weather.
All right, so I asked you on Facebook, where would you like to be snowed in and why? Great answers on this one. John says a hospital. You don't have to worry about them losing power, and you have plenty of eating options. Plus, in the worst case scenario of a medical emergency, you're already in the right place. Brenda says WFMY News 2, so I can hang out with my favorite people, everybody all together. Ah, so sweet. Bobby Odom says Natty Greens in downtown Greensboro because I'd have all the food, drinks, mixed drinks, and numerous TVs to watch. And I saved Bobby from himself because his next line he talked about how beautiful the waitresses are, but I cut that out. Virginia said, but I just outed you right then, Bobby. Virginia says Ferrara's Italian restaurant, always something good to eat and plenty of vino. And Kathy says, this is a crazy story. She says, when I was a kid and I lived in Virginia, we got so much snow one time that people got snowed in at the circus. It was a Ringling Brothers circus. She said, it may sound fun, but they actually ran out of food and had no places to sleep for days. That would be horrible. And then Angie Scott Puckett says the Grove Park Inn. But going back to being stuck at the circus.
That's wild. I was thinking about the smell of the animals.
Oh,
having
yes.
to be around that for so long.
After about 3 days of that, you might want to go.
You know, if I had to be stuck anywhere, I mean, it would never happen, but Disney World.
Oh, that wouldn't be bad.
Because they have all the resorts. You could ride rides, you could hang out with the characters and cast.
Make sure you bundle up because a lot of that's outside, right?
Well, I was going to say, not in Orlando. You don't have to worry too much about snow down there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Oh, yeah.
It'd have to be like something else, which you may not want, because the only thing I think of down there would be hurricane.
I thought about Disney World because I wanted to do something fun, but I'm thinking like a Dave and Buster's.
Oh, that
because you have food, you have drink, you have games to make the time go by, electricity, you know, TV is more.
Boxcar in downtown Greensboro. I'd stay there for a while.
That place is a lot of fun.
Their pizza is, whew.
Yeah.
I tried it for the first time a couple weeks ago.
I haven't had their food. Okay,
It is good. It is good. All right, we're going to take a short break. We're coming right back. Stay there, more ahead.
We always end up talking about food.
Food, always.
Always.
Really rallied to support one another when the fire broke out.
Okay, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination. When a dark delicious cookie meets an icy cold sensation, it's the one and only creamy chocolate. Okay.
One, two, three, four, five, six. Everything in this town seems to have a connection to the mountain. Obviously, the name itself, but also the
Mic check. Yeah, it's probably a great story. I've been mic checking for like 2 minutes. Cause I haven't, you know, cause I don't have an IB. I've been mic checking for 2 minutes.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Stacey Spivey with Lauren Coleman, Eric Tilden, and Monique Robinson.
Welcome back to the 4 to 5, whether you're watching at home, on air, online, WFMY News 2 app, Fire Stick, or Roku. Let's go into one of our top stories today. The Grindstone Fire on Pilot Mountain continues to burn this afternoon. More than 1,000 acres have been impacted and it's 20% contained. Fire officials say they have a good handle on it right now, but it's far from over.
While the fire may have burned down trees, it's not burning the spirit of the community there. WFMY's Avery Powell joins us now from the town of Pilot Mountain after speaking with folks in the area about the town.
Everything in this town seems to be connected to the mountain. The name itself, obviously, but businesses and the spirit of the community are tied to it as well. The mayor says the mountain is a major economic draw to the area, bringing in about 1 million visitors per year. He says the tight-knit community really rallied to support one another when the fire broke out, including helping the first responders fighting the flames. The mayor tells us they have more water bottles than they could ever need, and it's all due to the connection people feel to the mountain.
It's also a spiritual and emotional connection for people that live here. It represents home to us, so it's been a very emotional time. It's had a big impact on the area, and we're just coming together as a community to support one another right now.
The Pilot Knob Volunteer Fire Department says they have been overwhelmed with donations of food and goods. Monetary donations are still okay, but if you want to donate other items, they suggest reaching out to other local organizations. And one of those organizations is the Friends of Sourtown Mountains. You'll hear from them, including what they do to help this community and the mountain, coming up at 5.
All right, thank you, Avery. The NC Department of Forestry issued a burn ban for all communities. It prohibits all open burning, no matter if a permit was issued. That includes burning leaves, trash, lumber, and campfires, among other things. Those who violate the ban will be fined and could be liable for any expenses related to extinguishing the fire.
All right, let's check in with Monique now, because the reason this burn ban is in place is because, of course, weather played a huge role in the spread of the fire. And no relief, really, Monique?
No, not at all. Weather conditions haven't really changed at all over the last couple of days. We've been a little bit warmer as compared to yesterday, but overall we've been seeing the same conditions, dry, breezy, and that's all because we haven't really had any prominent weather features move through. Now, one thing I did mention earlier in the 4 p.m. hour is the fact that our air quality has worsened across the triad because of the wind direction changing and making for very unhealthy conditions for sensitive groups. You can see these winds coming out of the southwest. This is helping to push these smoke plumes off into this northern direction, and you can also see they're fairly breezy. As we continue through tonight and to start your Wednesday, these winds are going to be diminishing but transitioning out of a different direction. Haven't shown that 7-day yet, but here you have it. Now, some models are hinting a very, very small hint that we could be seeing some rain possible this weekend, but overall it's not looking like a significant amount of rainfall. You can see these temperatures are going to be on this roller coaster ride upwards through your day tomorrow, Thursday, and then Friday. Very warm on Friday, and then temperatures falling down quickly to start out next week. Overall, this forecast is dry. I mean, you can't see the dew points on it. You can't feel the air just quite yet, but it is going to be a dry next several days and even warmer. But most certainly, it's also going to be breezy again on Thursday. This is all ahead of a cold front that's going to be passing through, but a dry one. And so that dry cold front will bring in the cloud covers, will increase the temperatures around Friday, but overall keep us on the cool and dry side of things thereafter.
A TikTok star got her start right here in the Triad. Now she's an actress. Tabitha Brown, a rising star out of Eden. Like most of us, last year was in a whirlwind for her. And WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey spoke with her about her rise to fame and an upcoming project. Hey, Jalen.
Hey, Stacey. Well, Eden, it may be a small town, but Tabitha Brown, she grew up with big dreams. And after a decade plus of chasing those dreams, they're now her reality.
That is foundation. That is forever home, honey. And so I'm forever grateful and will forever be a Carolina girl.
You may know Tabitha Brown from her viral TikToks, acting roles, or one of her many catchphrases. But before the world knew her, she was just a little girl from a little town with a big dream.
That's why I began to dream, right? You know, being from a small town, you all you have is your dreams.
Now, Eden's very own is making that dream a reality. She got a brand new YouTube show for kids called Tab Time.
It's Tab Time. So it's for children, but honey, we all got a child inside of us, so it can be for everybody, okay? But it's all about helping children, get in touch with their feelings, see each other, love each other, have compassion for each other, all while learning together, right?
Tabitha credits much of her success to the love and support of the people of the Triad.
It's where I learned to grow and learn to dream. Right there at home. The Triad area is my home, forever will be. All my family is still there.
Brown's new show, Tab Time, debuts tomorrow on YouTube.
Oh, you're so lucky you got to speak with Tabitha. I love her.
Yeah, it was such a great time and an honor to be able to spend some time with such a positive and influential person in our world today.
She has such a strong social media presence. I started following her a while back. I'm not a vegan, but she posts her vegan videos, and it's inspired me to just try different dishes, and just the sound of her voice is just so soothing. I love her.
I love the fact that this was just her brainchild, right? She just did this on her own, decided to make her own path and not rely on everybody else, and now she's getting there. I think that's great.
Yeah, at first I didn't realize who that was, and I was like, oh my gosh, I saw her and I said, oh, she's from Eden? I had no idea. I think a lot of people will do that, and so great that she's starting a kids show. That would be so much fun to do, and I love how it's all animated and everything, and she's kind of made it her own world.
Yeah, that's what she was letting me know, that this was just a fun project that she was able to do and have control over, and had a great story, a lot of failures, but now she said it's all worth the success that she's accomplished now.
I'll be tuning in.
Absolutely.
Made in America. What does it actually mean? Well, the Federal Trade Commission has very specific requirements for a product to be called Made in America. All significant parts that go into the product must be of U.S. origin. That includes the processing and the labor. So made in the USA doesn't mean you import the wood or you import the pieces and the parts from another country and you assemble them in the US and boom, it's made in America. That is not how it goes. So it can be kind of tricky to find items that are truly made in America.
So if we look for that, then Tanya, if we see that, then we know that it's completely made in America. Is that true?
So yes, that means that virtually or almost all of the parts are made right there, assembled there, processed there, and most of the time, like all the boxes are from there too.
Oh wow!
Like that it comes in. So a lot of them even go to like that kind of length. So there's a website called USALoveList.com. It has more than 5,000 handmade American products here. So I want to ask you, what do you think is the most sought after American-made item?
I would think the flag. The American flag.
Okay, well that's interesting.
I'm gonna say a bicycle.
A bicycle, okay.
I just saw it on the screen.
I'm always thinking food, so I can't go there. If I'm thinking American food.
Okay, we're gonna hear from the creator of the website what is one of the most asked for items.
A toaster is a big one that it drives them crazy. They really want an American-made toaster.
Seriously, people, a toaster. All right. In tracking visits to her website, Sarah Wagner saw a 500% spike in April and May when much of the country shut down. Since October, it's been up 25%. Toasters are just hard to come by. Why? Because they're small electronics, right? And so many small electronics are not all made here. Now, here's what she wants you to know about products that are, in fact, made in America.
I would encourage shoppers to remember the businesses that were there for them during these last couple of difficult years. Every single one product that I buy makes a difference to a business and makes a difference to a worker whose job is part of that business.
Yeah, so the Love List website is cool in that there's this map. So I'm showing that to everyone at home too, so that you can search by state for those American-made products.
The all-American toaster, Tanya.
I know, right?
That was random. Did you see me go, oh?
Never in my life.
And you're like, why do you care? But if you're looking for electronics made in America, made in the USA with that designation, it's really hard to find. Yeah, because they may make them here, right? But they import the electronic, or they import this, or they import the metal, or whatever else, and then it's not.
Then it's not truly.
Then
made.
it's not truly made in
Gotcha.
America. All right, so folks, I'm going to put the link in the Made in America site in the Two Wants to Know section, so you can search for yourself.
Oh my goodness! Oh my gosh.
You need a cobbler?
Yeah, I do need a cobbler.
I got a cobbler. He's old.
Well, I'll cobble it.
Hi, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mic check.
Wake Forest football is heading to Charlotte this weekend for the ACC championship game. The Demon Deacons are set to face Pittsburgh Saturday night. WFMY News 2's Amanda Ferguson tells us how players are feeling ahead of this big game. I'm sure they're pretty anxious.
Yeah, Stacey, this will be Wake Forest's second trip to the ACC championship game. Last one coming 15 years ago. So this is a big deal for head coach Dave Clawson and his Demon Deacons. His guys know it, but they know the job is not done yet. They had a motto this year, good to great, and they're proving to be a great football team. The Deeks finished the regular season 10-2 with one game standing right in front of them, and that's the ACC title game. Wake Forest redshirt senior linebacker Luke Masterson tells us what's going through his mind this week.
You know, it's hard to block out, you know, all the noise, and you certainly want to appreciate the moment that we're in, and you don't want to, you know, take it lightly at all. But at the same time, you want to take that same approach that you've taken all year and try and go 1-0. So, you know, it's that balance between, you know, emphasizing that, you know, how important this game is, but also realizing that you have to just stick to the process that you've taken every week and do the stuff that you've done every week to get where we're at.
Coach Clawson told us over the weekend he can tell when he has a good team. He knew there was something special about this group. He says he wouldn't have come up with that motto, good to great, if he didn't think his team was capable of being great.
I'm pulling for Wake. I mean, just because they're the local team, but I had lots of friends that went there, and one of them in particular called me recently, and he said, I can't believe that I'm seeing our football program do this, and it's about time. So I think a lot of folks are excited, not only here in the Piedmont, but across the country.
And like Amanda mentioned, the first ACC championship game since 2006 for the Deeks. And that game they played Georgia Tech, and it was a 9-6 barn burner, right? But this year, the game against Pitt, Both teams' offenses rank in the top 5 in scoring in the country, so we're gonna have a lot more points than a 9-6 score
be a
for sure.
shootout.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And it's pretty cool because they won on Saturday, literally the day after Dave Clawson signed his extension to stay at Wake Forest.
Well deserved.
That's perfect timing. You signed that, and if you're the athletic director, you're like, okay,
We're
that's a
glad
good
we did
definitely
that.
earned it, right?
We got it. We got it down. Yeah, that's for sure. All right, let's talk about golf here. We're talking about Tiger Woods. He says he doesn't feel he'll be the top golf player again, but he intends to play. The player says he sees himself playing in certain tournaments, maybe not full time. Woods is the tournament host of the Hero World Challenge, the 15-time major champion, said he's still recovering from that car crash in February. Has a long way to go. Woods was recovering from a back procedure at the beginning of the year when that crash happened. So the funny thing with Tiger is that crowds come. It doesn't matter where he is in his career. When he came to the Wyndham that year, it was packed, and nobody really expected him to win, but it was, I mean, he draws an army wherever he goes.
It's just the fact that they can see. I mean, if he came here again, I would go just to see that Tiger Woods was there. He has such a legacy. I know he's got a lot of stuff that's happened in his personal life, but when you look at him as a golf player and an athlete, I mean, it is amazing what he's been able to accomplish.
Even if you're not a golf fan, I don't know if you guys remember this, they did a commercial with him years back where he had a golf club, it looked like an iron of some sort in his hand, and he was popping a golf ball like up and down and bouncing on it, and he would take it like under his leg and then around his back, and then he smacked it up in the air and hit it on the down and knocked it out in the middle of nowhere. And I thought it was computer generated graphic. It wasn't.
But it was all him.
It was totally real.
I'm curious to see what his son ends up doing. If
Yes.
he's going to be the same kind of athlete.
Yeah, the legacy will live on.
Yeah.
But it's just great to see him, kind of moving a little bit because, when that crash happened, that had a lot of us shaken.
Absolutely. And that, his dad was a driving force in his life. He's the one that pushed him from a young age to really compete. And I think you're right. It'd be interesting to see if he passes that on to his son. So.
Yeah, there was some video of them side by side, and their swing
Oh, interesting.
is
Looks
identical.
just alike.
So who knows? May see him make it to the big time one day.
Well, Lee Elder, he is the first black golfer to play in the Masters, has died at the age of 87. Elder made history in 1975 at Augusta National, which held an all-white tournament until he received an invitation after winning the Monsanto Open the year before. At this year's Masters, Elder was given the honor of hitting a ceremonial opening tee shot along with 2 other players, but he was not well enough to take the swing. The cause of his death was not given.
All right, I am talking about why people deny having negative emotions.
If you've ever felt uncomfortable expressing negative emotions, Blanca Caba and I are going to help you get a better understanding of why. So Blanca, we're not talking about mean or hateful, more so annoyance, confusion. How do people usually downplay those emotions?
Many times people are indirect about the negative feelings that they're having, and they might say something like, they're confused instead of saying that they're annoyed. A lot of times people don't even want to admit the negativity. Someone will say, hey, what's up? What's wrong? You're like, oh, nothing, I'm good. But you can tell by their facial expression that something is going on. But when you deny your emotions, those negative emotions, you're denying full acceptance of yourself, because being human, you're going to feel the full spectrum of emotions, from happiness to anger.
So how are negative emotions, how are they protective?
Negative emotions are protective because they require you to act. If someone cuts you off in traffic or someone bumps into you on purpose, what is it going to do? You have that negative emotion, if it's anger, but then it requires you to act. You're going to avoid the situation. You're going to speak up for yourself tactfully. You're going to speak up for other people. So that's why negative emotions can be protective, again, because they require you to act.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So why do we tend to avoid letting people know that we feel negative emotions?
It's all about image control. People don't want other people to know that they experience negative emotions. It's crazy. It truly is crazy, because we're human and we're going to experience negativity in our lives. It's just part of life, right? But people misunderstand that being mad or feeling negative emotions makes them look bad. No, it doesn't. It isn't. The issue isn't having negative emotions. The issue is how you express those emotions, how you deal with those emotions. That's the issue, and that's what people get scared of if they don't have control over their emotions, or they're not sure how to gain control of that negative emotion.
Great information. I like how you said you're human. If you do feel those emotions, it's just about how we control them. All right, thank you so much, Blanca. If you miss any of this information, you can find it on our website at WFNYnews2.com.
So it's November 30th. Do you know what that means? Today is the last day of hurricane season, and it's ending on a quiet note. Yes, that marks it for 2021. We are completely done with the season officially, and there's no activity currently in the tropics. We had 21 named storms this season, and this is a live look at the tropics, where we are seeing no tropical activity as of this Tuesday. That's good news, because this season was quite busy at times. I mean, Anna started this thing off well before the season even started. I mean, before that June 1st date this year, Anna was already named. And then very quickly we made it through this list. Elsa making its name on July 1st. I mean, we just were rapidly moving through this list of names. And Fred, this one right here was the big story for North Carolina, especially Western North Carolina. If you recall the flooding that we talked about for a very long time, that was all associated with Fred. And then we continued through this list. Ida making its mark down in New Orleans. Conversations related to that were not good. Imagery was not good, and they're still in some locations recovering from Ida. Wanda, the latest name on the list, in fact, was named this month. And then after that, things just got quiet. Most folks didn't even remember Wanda because it was called what we call a fish storm. It kind of stayed offshore, didn't really make any impacts to the U.S. And then we named no more systems thereafter. So it was kind of on target for this season. The updated forecast, not the original forecast, but the updated forecast did call for what we saw. 21 named storms, 7 of them being hurricanes, and 4 of which were major hurricanes. So right on target, that NOAA forecast was spot on this year. Switching gears really quickly, talking about weather closer to home. High pressure in places keeping us quiet, meaning our radar not seeing any rain chances. We've been talking about it for quite a while. Not much of a change in the forecast when we talk about the rain, but the warmer weather will move in as you see those winds coming out of the southwest direction. We're going to start to see these temperatures warm up through the start of the end of the week and start to the weekend. So you can see as we go towards the start of next week, some models are kind of showing, forecast models we use as meteorologists are kind of saying we could see some rain, but not significant rainfall totals at all. Nothing, in fact, to help the Pilot Mountain fire.
too, are actually giving all your money to people. 9, 10, 11, 12.
Hi there.
Dipped a bit lower. Do you think you'll still need the diffuser out?
Huh?
I thought you were.
I am.
They just asked for 8.
I know. Mic check 1 2. I'm before Avery, right? Is that correct? Mic check 1 2 1 2 3. Mic check. Oh, I'm in the middle of the alphabet. Yeah, we're getting him out of the car now. Avery, get over here. So there's this place called Claremont Cafe, and the guy, you've been to Claremont, probably, but you know, just a small town. Well, there's a guy that works at the Claremont Cafe, and his name's Avery, and they're always like, Avery, Avery, get me your tater tots. Yeah, he's coming. So.
Hi there. I'm excited to see Avery's tots in that.
Come on, Avery.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
It's time for my 2 cents. Self-care. We talk about it a lot, but do we actually invest in it? Recently, I went to the salon, and while I was there, my mind was racing about everything from the story that I was pursuing at work to the new sleep training technique I wanted to try out for my daughter Baylor. Then I reminded myself, I needed to take this time to relax. Being a new mom and working full-time, I really haven't had much time for myself, and this was 2 hours that I could shut everything off and just enjoy the pampering. The stress of daily life can add up, not to mention the pandemic and planning for the holidays. We can really feel the pressure. That's why it's important we take care of ourselves in whatever way we can. I asked you on my Facebook page what you do for self-care. Casey does meditation. Shay walks through TJ Maxx and Home Goods and makes sleep a priority and walks several miles a day. Kelly likes to get away for a few hours alone, and Winston escapes into a book or a movie. Whatever it may be that works for you, take this as a reminder to invest in self-care sometime this holiday season. That's just my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
Four days. That's how long the fire at Pilot Mountain has burned. It has now doubled in size to more than 1,000 acres.
And tonight we are getting a closer look at the destruction left behind. Look at these pictures. You can see the torched ground there.